From the belly of the Beast Coast, Glastonbury, Connecticut, this is the Cultra Trail Running Podcast. We talk about all the fun shit that happens on the trails that most normal people don't care about. The language we use is fucking explicit and raw like the trails we run on, so don't listen with your kids! Cultra is brought to you by our Patreons and supporters, and we are 112% listener supported, and support is good.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cultra Trail Running Podcast. And today, I, Becky Burke, Evil Becky, am your host and your crew and your everything. And something that Art reminded me, well, maybe not reminded me, but told me is this is the first episode where it's just one person. So, woohoo! So Cultra Trail Running Podcast is a place where people can get together and talk about all the fun shit that happens on the trails that most normal people don't care about. Our headquarters are located in the belly of the Beast Coast, Glastonbury, Connecticut, and our stories involve Northeast trail running and Northeast trail runners. The language that we use is explicit and raw, so do not listen with your kids at home. And there's probably more to say, but you know what? We're just going to go with it. So anyways, hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 321. Or I should call it, last episode I called 8675309. So this could be 8675310. That could also be the name of the episode as well. But anyways, so last week in our episode, we talked about some funny superlatives, and I kind of wanted to go over those with you guys and let you know what some of the more popular ones were that we had found out, and some pretty funny new ones. So not surprising, of course I can't find it. The one that the most people related with was the overpacker, the person who brings everything but the kitchen sink. And I have it on good authority from several people that Scotty Coomer would actually bring the kitchen sink as also. So he's like the overpacker. But lots of you guys said that you were an overpacker. And yeah, I think when you're running for as many hours as we run, or in the conditions that we run, or the things that we do, it sort of does lead yourself to overpack at least one or two times. The second most popular one was actually number 21. Now, if you don't remember what number 21 is, that is because it was not actually one of the superlatives, but it was one, the only, the chocolate chip, the 4-chip general, yes, Chip Howard, made up. And that one is the former weekend warrior, person that has great plans for this really cool, awesome weekend run, but then doesn't do it because, as Chip would say, they are off visiting their college-aged kids. And there were several other people that also resonated with, maybe not with visiting college-age kids, but visiting others. And I have to say that's one that I can relate to too, where I have these grandiose ideas, and then you just kind of want to make sure that you're not missing out on something that your family's doing, and for me, seeing my boys run and not wanting to miss out on that. So yeah, that was very popular. Another one. And another was number 22, which number 22, just like number 21, that's one that our wonderful Barapapa came up with. And that was actually, I need to say the whole thing to really give this its credit, because I thought it was really quite clever. And now I'm just looking for it. And so Barapa titled the superlative, I gouged my leg open on a huge piece of metal, but no big deal. let me just finish this 100 miler anyway. And he said that that was the one, the only, the chosen one, Tobias Teo. And then Pom Poms came in and gave a little twist on number 22. It was 22.2, which is I got a staph infection, but let me finish this 112 miler, then do it in the reverse direction, which honestly, I think that's awesome because Butterpie, you totally, she nailed you. He did have a crazy weird infection and was like, yeah, I'm just going to turn around and do it the other way. And luckily, he wasn't able to, but he wasn't able to because the staph infection was so bad that he ended up going to the hospital, but that's neither here nor there, right? So and there were some other people that definitely jumped on that bandwagon with the pretty much the I'm broken, but we'll just wait to the end of this really long run or this really crazy race or whatever to get, the medical attention that I need. And yeah, I think that that's on one level of an or another, maybe not the huge piece of metal in your leg or the staph infection with 112 miles, but I think probably many of us can all relate to that run where, we did something, we heard something, we felt something, and we're like, I should stop. And we didn't. And we just kept going and thought, hey, why not? So after that one was number 19. Number 19, I was very excited about when I saw it because I felt like were they were talking about and pulling in the culture peeps. And that was the ultimate douche canoer. And we all love a douche canoer. I mean, who doesn't, right? And if you the ultra marathon douche canoe is the one that always finds a way to bring up their last 100 miler, no matter the conversation or topic. And many of you guys were definitely jumped on that bandwagon, and several of you made the the good example of art. When you think douche canoe, you think art, douche canoe art douche canoe. And then we had number 20, post-race partier. Runs ultras just to celebrate at the finish line with beers and questionable dance moves. I think that's awesome. You gotta have those people. Um, and some of the other ones that people that resonated with people was the sandbagger, and apparently that is also Franklin Gandolfini's real name. So it's not Franklin, it is actually Sand, middle name Bagger, last name Gandolfini. So in case you're wondering, Strava addict and gadget geek, I really feel like I want to run with the Strava addict gadget geek who was dun, 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 dun. Why am I not finding you? Hmm. Well, I wrote it down. Ah, Greg Matthew. I feel like you're the person that I should run with because that's the person that just knows what they're doing and kind of can lead everybody else. I would assume that you're probably also the one that uh, when everyone's lost can take out the compass and figure out what way we're going or where the next local gas station is or all of that stuff. So the selfie taker, I have to say, I would love to be a selfie taker because I do take pictures sometimes when I'm on the trail. But if there was a superlative for worst selfie, that would be me because somehow I take a selfie and it's not good. Even on those days where I'm like, woohoo, look at me, it's hot. And I take the selfie and I'm like, who is that? Who's in that picture? Because it can't be me. And it is me. So I end up just taking a picture of the scenery without me, because that's just better. Fashionista was another one. And as many of you agreed with Laz and Pom Poms as huge fashionistas, uh, aid station Hoovers, aid station, um, what was the other aid stationer? Aid station squatters. So several of you said that. I have to give a shout out to Gelato because she she came up with her own as well, and it was the constantly broken and can't run anymore. So I'm giving you a sad face there, Gelato. We miss you. Running's just not, racing's just not the same without you, and I hope that we can unbreak you. Or you know what? We you can not be broken from injuries, but we can break you emotionally and mentally because that is something that Art and I are really good at is breaking people. So if you could get healthy and have your brokenness healed and then come out to run and be physically well, then Art and I can break you emotionally and spiritually. Um, by just annoying the crap out of you. So that should be your next goal. That's something for you to work on. So yes, you need to do that. Um, some people talked about the competitive pooper, strategically timing those bathroom breaks. We got to all do it. It happens. It's got to happen to all of us. And oh, another one. I don't know where I wrote all my things. The philosopher. Several of you really were kind of resonated with that, and uh, that person that comes up with those deep profound things to say at mile 68 when it's dark and it's rainy and maybe you're lost, maybe you're not, uh, but someone that just has some uh, pretty interesting things to say. So so that was the superlatives. And yeah, I thought it was great. Definitely anyone that hasn't looked at them, take a look. There's got to be, I didn't see anybody admit to the secretly fast guy. You guys are out there. The complainers, yes, there's many complainers. Uh, the first timer, you're there, you're out there. So another thing that, moving on, that Art was asking about, and this really resonated with me, was he talked to us about imagining if you could go back in time and give your past selves some advice about training or racing. And he asked to give an answer that's technical, that's about technicality, and one that's about mindset. And I actually thought that was really, even if he didn't mean for it to be a really good question, I thought that that was a really good question. And it's a question that I posed to all of you that if you could go back and look at you, and maybe you've only been running for 2 years, so you're looking back to the you from 2 years ago, or maybe you've been running for 37 years, like me. Oh, that's crazy. And you want to go back a little bit more than 2 years. Maybe you want to go back 20 years or 25 or 30, 37. What kind of advice would you give that? Would you give that person from a training perspective, from a racing perspective, and from a mindset perspective? So I would love for you guys to put something in and let us know on our Facebook page. Um, I've just to give a little insight for me, this is a question that I actually have looked back on for myself a lot. I started running when I was in junior high school, ran in high school, in college, and then continued to run and race beyond that. And obviously, it's a big part of my life. And it's definitely something that technically, man, if I could have gone back and told myself to do the strength training, do the core training, do the easy runs, like don't always go out and run fast And that can be hard, especially when you're younger and you're in high school, you're in college, or you're just joining a track group or a running group, and you want to run with everybody. You don't necessarily want to be the one in the back. And all of a sudden, somebody's pushing the pace and you're going faster than you think or that you want to. And it takes a lot to be able to be like, all right, I'm gonna let you go, and I'm gonna do my own thing. So from a technical perspective, I would go back to that, Becky, and say, run slow when you need to run. Make every run quality. Like do quality, don't do garbage miles, do quality miles. And get the strength, get the core strength um and the strength training. Now, ironically, I say that, and I have taken older Becky has taken half of that advice. And I am very good at running my own pace. There's just been times when I haven't, but for the most part, if I go out for a run, whether I'm with other people or I'm by myself, I'm going to run at the pace that I'm going to run at. And there are many times that that's been where I start running with, 10 of us that start running together, and one would think on paper that we'd all be running the same pace. And within a minute, I am well behind everybody. Um, and I'm just running the pace that I want to run. And I just try to put the blinders on and just do what I want to do and do what I need to do. Um, so that's really good. And making workouts be quality workouts. Um, so I did do those things. And I'm glad that I've done those things. And I think that's why I am still running. Lifting the weights, doing the core strength. I know it's important, especially getting older, but uh, older Becky and younger Becky have not listened to older Becky's advice, and I haven't done either of those. Um, and then from a mindset, man, mindsets even is such a bigger thing. I was a very emotional runner, and ran really based on uh, how I was how I was doing at the time. So if there were people coming up on the side of me in a race, I just get in my head and be like, oh, they're all on the side of me. They're going to pass me. Forget it. Life's the worst. I suck. Forget it. I'm throwing in the towel. And um, and I was only hurting myself by doing that. Or, really making my value as a human being or as a person or as a daughter or as a friend really based on how well I was running. And those things didn't help me become a faster runner. They didn't help me become a happier runner or more successful runner. They didn't do that, but they also actually hurt me a lot. So they were not just not a help, but they were a hindrance. And those are things that I think that I know that I would tell little Becky uh, to really enjoy it, and that to take in the things that are around you. I'm very fortunate that I'm very excited and happy that my boys are runners. And I love going and watching them run. And I love just being there and being part of it and watching everybody run. And one of the things that I really always think a lot about, and it's something that kind of like what I'm just saying now, is that whole idea of being out in a race and you've got all these people around you and they're running, and maybe somebody's like cutting in front of you, or you're kind of vying for a position or whatever. And it's use those people around you, use them as strength, pull on their strength, listen to how they're breathing, um, work off of them, use them as support systems. I think we tend to forget, at least, understandably in high school and college and racing, it's like everybody around you is this competitor, and you want to pass them. And I'm a super competitive person. I've always been a super competitive person, but I love now having people around me that are running and running really well and using their energy to kind of get myself to go to push faster and to go farther. I have to cough. Excuse me. That was a cough. Um, so so yeah, that's a mindset that I don't know, maybe that comes with age, or maybe it comes with confidence, or I don't know what it comes with, but I definitely can now appreciate all of those people running around me. Um, and while I haven't been racing much lately, um, in general, I race a lot and I want to do really well. And I want to finish as high up as I possibly can. Uh, but having other people around me that are kind of, or maybe I'm trying to pass them or they're trying to pass me or whatever, instead of getting intimidated by that and just getting kind of freaked out about it, I actually, as I'll use Fred's language once again, I lean into it. And I just lean into all of those people that are around me and those competitors and those people that, want to, you know, want to finish in front of me or whatever it may be. So yeah, so wondering from all of you what you would say. So yeah, let me know about that. And I think one of the other things that I was going to talk about was just asking everybody about, we are a month into the new year. It's the end of January, beginning of February. Luckily, the days are getting longer, but it's cold, it's windy, and it can be a tough time to get out there and to get running and to get moving. And I hope that everyone just kind of does what works for them and gets out there. I've been doing um, some walking where I walk with my dogs because I just need to get outside, and and that really works out fine. And then I have days where it was a week or two ago, I just decided I really just want to go out and run, and we're going to see, whenever I feel like turning around and coming back, I'll turn around and come back, and uh, and that's what I did. And I turned around and I went on the airline trail, and I just went out until it was dark. It was when there was a snowstorm, and then decided, okay, I guess I'll turn around and come back. Of course, I only had one headlamp with me, and the headlamp died about 10 minutes into the run on the way back. But so I was running in a snowstorm with no headlamp on the airline trail. But luckily, it was actually um, the moon was out, so it made it a little bit more doable. So I didn't run into trees, but that was just a great thing because I didn't have a race that I was training for. I do have races coming up, but I just did it because I really just wanted to be out there and really wanted to run. So I think that's one of those things that we learn with as we the more that we run and the more that we do these things. So to all of you that might be listening, that maybe you're injured, or maybe you're like me and you look and it looks like your skin looks like somebody locked you in a basement for a month because it's so pale and pasty. Um, or you're just like, it's cold. I don't want to get out there. I don't want to do that. There's a lot of us out there that really don't want to, but then when we get out there, we do. So get out there as little or as much as you can and enjoy what you can do. Um, all right. I'm not sure if you heard that I stopped the recording and then I started it again, but I did do that. And so now I kind of wanted to see what kind of races are coming up. What kind of events do we have that are coming up that can kind of get us out there? And so I'm looking on the Northeast, but would love people to shout out onto the Facebooks or the Twitters. Uh, with races around you that you think people would like. Um, but here are some things that are going to be going on. So actually, starting tomorrow is Satan Sidewalk. That is put on by Double N Ben, and it's a silliness. It's a silly, crazy run. It's is a 66.6 hour or 66.66K treadmill odyssey through fire, brimstone, and masochistic purgatory, running in place for mile after mile after mile after mile. So, yeah, 66.6 hours or miles on a treadmill, kind of like putting 66.6 pencils in your eyes. Um, but fun. I could see I'm saying this and I do believe it was I think it was Gelato who did a really long run on their treadmill and then took a picture of the outline of their butt on the treadmill from the butt sweat. And it might have been somebody else, but I thought that was really great. So that's coming up. Although by the time you guys listen to this, it'll have already happened. So you can look at the results of that. If you're looking for something short, our wonderful people at Sash Squad are doing the Squatch Onesie Fest 5K. And I hate 5Ks. I hate them. But I have to say that doing one sometimes, it really is invigorating. And it's that kind of like fun that you can celebrate, like where you're like just celebrating, like at least for me, like I'm not good at this and I'm just going to celebrate it. So that is coming up in on Saturday the 8th of February in Mawa. Wow, I never heard that town before. So another race that I've seen and I always want to do it. It's called the Naked Bavarian, and it's in Leesport, Pennsylvania. That's on March 1st. There's a 40 miler and a 60 miler. Um, I've always wanted to do that. I haven't, but who knows? Maybe this will be the year. Um, there's something new here that's also the first weekend of March called the Spring Surge Endurance Challenge. Um, and it's a hybrid run in Pittsfield, Mass. That sounds like it's a double end bend kind of thing, but it's not. It is 48 hours to log as many miles as you care to. So this is another one of those virtual runs, and check that out. You can do it on your time frame. I think those are can be really good. Another thing from race from the Squatchers, Sash Squatchers, is the Squatch Apple, March 8th in West Orange, New Jersey. I have run there before. It's great, and they have a 50 miler, a 50K, a 20 miler, and 11 miler. So something to look into. Another one that looks new that I was looking at is called the Livingston Oval Ultra in Livingston, New Jersey, and that's on the 8th as well. So lots of different races to pick from, but that's a 6 hour, a 3 hour, and a 1 hour. So some things to think about. I know many of you guys are doing the Mount Tamani 10, and that is a 10-mile loop. It's a 40-mile race, 10-mile loop, and it's just insane and crazy. I have not done it because I'm a wimp, but I know that several people are signed up to do it, and it looks really cool. Saturday, March 22nd. Some races that I've done, which I love, can't, um, you know, it's just a great race, is Spring on the Trails Endurance Run. I believe the last time I did it, Art and I did the 12-hour, and we were probably one of the first people that got there in the morning. And we were the last people to leave. And it wasn't because we were like the last people to finish, or mean, it was a timed race, but we took so much time getting ourselves like packed up and cleaned up and all of that, that even the entire the race crew, the people that put on the event, had all of their stuff packed up and they were gone, and we were still there, which just speaks to us. But I was registered to do it last year, and as many of you know, last year was quite a struggle for me, and so uh, I had decided that it was best for me to drop. Um, well, I didn't even start, so I couldn't have dropped, but decided not to run. But it is a great race. We've had the race directors on in the past. Again, Spring on the Trails Endurance Run. It's in LaGrangeville, New York. It's a really nice course. It's got some rocks and rolls, but nothing really crazy. So another one is Enchanted Forest Ultra. I know a lot of you have done that. It's in Stratford, Connecticut. It's a beautiful area, 6 hour race. Um, so another one to look at. I have to say I'm sad because one of my favorite races of all time is the Run Amok, which is in always in April in Vermont, and it goes over parts of the course of the Vermont 100. And I'm sure I've talked about the race many times. We've had the RD on several times. I've run it probably like 8 or 9. I've run it every year but one. And last year they didn't have it because the RD had some other stuff going on and was supposed to be back this year, and I don't see it. So I'm sad. I hope it does come back, but I also hope that uh, that Jonathan, everything is okay, and that we're just that it's just the timing isn't working out. But keep your eyes out for that race because maybe it will come back, or maybe it'll come back later on in the year. But it is called Run Amok, and it's a great race. Uh, Shore to Shore, 50K and 25K. That's in East Islip, New York, Long Island, and that's put on by Happily Running. Uh, those are some great races. I know Thad's talked about those. Um, so definitely some ones to look into. And and of course, I would be remiss. Okay, I would be dumb to not mention the one, the only, the Tolerable Bill Jack Bristol Lake Warmog Ultra. Uh, that is on April 27th. And for anybody that has been under a rock over the last couple of years and hasn't heard us talk about this race, it's a great race. I believe it's the oldest consecutively running 50K or 50 miler. It's or something. It's a race. It's been going on for a really, really, really long time. Um, if you go back to some of the first years that it was run in the 70s, 80s, and you see how fast these people were running, it might make you feel a little crappy about yourself if you're like me, which isn't, you probably shouldn't think like that. But yeah, this this is a really good race. It's some of the records in this race are still standing from, the 80s, and it's 100K, a 50 miler, and a 50K, and it is around beautiful Lake Warmog in the upper part of Connecticut in Litchfield County. So those are just some races around here that are over the next couple months and things to consider doing, or consider what I'm considering, and just kind of coming up with some fun, silly runs. So I'd love also to hear from people of just different runs that they've created and decided to do. Um, I know I'm trying to do a run where I'm running along one side of the Connecticut River, crossing the bridge, running down the other side. Uh, it's a little bit longer than I thought, so I thought I was gonna do it one day over the weekend, but uh, didn't really figure in that how far the bridges were. I mean, it's doable, but I was thinking it was like a 20-mile run, but I think it's more like 40 or 50. So doable, but may take more of the day than I was originally planning. So, um, and let's see, like, what are some races that that have happened? What races have happened? Huh. There's been a lot of 5Ks. We don't see on the East Coast as many of the longer races at this time of year because it's so cold and just icky weather. Although we did have the Frozen Heart Run. That was a great run. Maybe that'll come back. Hint, hint. And that was in Middletown, and it was a 2-mile loop, I believe, and it was 24 hours, I think. But it was a good run, so I'm hoping that comes back. So, oh, and Tower Tag was in December as well. The Naked Nick run, always wanted to do that just because of the name. Like, who doesn't want to do a race that's the name of the race that you can that's totally a reason to douche canoe to be like, what did you do this weekend? I did the Naked Nick. And people like, what? And think crazy. And it's like, it sounds cool and crazy because you're like, I did Naked Nick. And then someone's like, what? What did you do? And then you have a reason to go into explaining this race that you did because you don't want anybody to think that you just did something with someone named Nick. Uh, that's naked because that would be weird. So then you can say, oh, well, I happen to do a 50-kilometer race. And then you could say 50 kilometers, that's actually 31 miles. And someone would say 31 miles, I don't even run that far. And then you would say, and that's it. So, anyways, I have been doing a lot of babbling, and I need to say that I miss my crew. This is the first episode, like I said, the only episode I've done by myself. And it's not, it's, while it's so fun talking to everybody, it's not as much fun doing these things by yourself. Um, I kind of get annoyed listening to my own voice. Yeah. So, Fred, I miss you. Celeste, I miss you. Jimmy, I miss you. Ellie, I miss you. Art, I miss you. Art is sick. He just came back from PR and he is not feeling well. So I miss all of you. And it's just not the same without you guys. But I am going to wrap it up at a crazy 39 minutes and 30 seconds, which is unbelievable. I want to thank all of our Patreons. I don't have the Patreon list. I could probably name at least half of you. Um, one, because I just remember, and two, because you're wonderful, awesome people. And three, because we just love you to pieces. But I don't want to list half of you and not all of you. And then what if I screw up somebody's name? What if I actually say somebody's name the right way? It could just be a whole big debacle. So truly, we joke about if you've made it this far, seek professional help. And I've got to say, if you've made it this far into my episode of just me, um, yeah, you really may want to seek professional help because I think that's pretty darn impressive. I don't think I would make it through this whole episode of me. I don't think I could. I think I'd probably already turn it off. Anyways, I will see you all out in the trails and we'll see you in a mile and a half.